Odile clobbers Cabo San Lucas, palm trees pummeled and busted resorts. We've got the aftermath from one of the strongest hurricanes on record to hit Baja California. Mark's now in the lab tracking the storm today.
That's right, Bonnie. Here in the lab alongside hurricane specialist Michael Lowry. And you know what, Michael, Odile's problem's just beginning for the United States now.
Yeah, I mean, really, the tropical storm pushing moisture into places like Arizona, Mark. And if you remember last week, the Phoenix area was flooded out with Norbert's moisture. The situations that's got dangerous very quickly. Jim Cantori's in Tucson as the rain is just beginning. Jim?
And some of this rain is forecast to be incredibly heavy. If some of these models verify, we are in big trouble down here. The rain has begun in Tucson, and there's a lot more to come. We'll talk about that coming up.
Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Bonnie Schneider. Tropical Storm Odile is now threatening the U.S. This as Mexicans and tourists deal with the aftermath of the storm in Cabo San Lucas. Odile left a wake of extensive damage as it slammed into the shores of Mexico as a Category 3 hurricane. Just take a look at the streets of Cabo as Hurricane Odile moved on. You can see they're just flowing with muddy water. There's debris everywhere, and we know that over 100 people were injured. Luckily, no one was killed in this Category 3 storm as it came ashore, but still, it's a very dangerous situation. Let's get right to Mark and Michael in the lab with more.
And Bonnie, we've been following and just talking about this storm now. A far cry for those wind speeds from where they were, but impressive nonetheless that it's still a 60-mile-per-hour storm at this point.
Well, it's been over land for over 24 hours and very high terrain there in the Baja Peninsula, so I'm a little surprised the circulation is held intact as it has, Mark.
And now it's over the Gulf of California, some 90-degree water temperatures there, and so the core of the storm is again over a warm, juicy surface of ocean there.
It is. We're not forecasting it to re-intensify, but we'll see if it kind of holds together a little longer than we expected. Let's show you the latest information, just getting it in from the Hurricane Center. Those winds still at 60 miles per hour. This peaked out as a 135-mile-per-hour Category 4 hurricane. So as Mark was saying, a much weaker self here. 994 millibars moving north-northwest at 9 miles per hour. Mark, let's show you the watches and warnings. It's kind of interesting here that you have tropical storm warnings all the way up to the tip top here of the Gulf of California. This is not something you see every day.
Yeah, absolutely. That far north, but it's because they think that that core of the storm is going to hold together now as it continues to trek off to the north and bring that moisture along north with it.
And look at it right here. You can see the spin to the clouds and still has thunderstorms with it. We were saying how once it gets up here into northern Mexico and Phoenix, you see the reds and the oranges. Those will go away, and then you'll just be left with those low clouds that you're seeing here on the outer edge. But that's sort of yet to be seen, Mark. You mentioned the water temperatures there in the Gulf of California, near 90 degrees, as warm as you could probably get in the ocean. The forecast still is for this to dissipate by early tomorrow morning, and then that moisture moving into the desert southwest thereafter.
And so there is some protection there. You can see the kind of bronze colors indicating some dry air near Phoenix. This seems like it'll have a very distinct cutoff to the northwest side as to how far north this moisture gets.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a dip in the jet stream that's coming in from the west, and that is what you're seeing right here is the drier air, the orange colors and the red colors, and then that moisture, that envelope of moisture. Again, Mark, this isn't something you see every day across the desert southwest. Yeah. All of this moisture that's going to be spreading inland, and all of that from really a combination of things. You have what actually was left of Tropical Depression 16 over here. You have this disturbance that moved in over Mexico last week. All of that just channeling right up into the same place.
And so the models have been trying to get a handle on where this moisture is going to go and how heavy that rain is going to be at any one time. And so this is one of those model runs right now.
Yeah, basically the heaviest the rainfall Wednesday afternoon into Thursday. They're forecasting 3 to 5 inches in the mountains, 1 to 3 inches in the valleys.
And we want to bring in Jim Cantori now. We know that this is going to continue to cause trouble in the U.S. In Tucson, some light rain has arrived, Jim, but the record daily rainfalls there are about an inch, and there's a potential for much more than that.
They're very low, and that's the problem. And you saw what last week's less than an inch did to the Tucson area. I mean, washes like this one here were an absolute torrent. You can still see how the plant material here is just kind of blown over with the way that the water took it over. And remember, the power of water is incredibly strong. It's much stronger than wind, so it just pretty much took everything out of the way. And you know what's interesting here, guys? We got about 2/10 of an inch of rain. It is now just starting to end here, but you can just see everything getting wet. I mean, the soil here just doesn't absorb moisture when it comes down heavily. It'll take the drizzle and the light rain, and it'll eventually absorb, but initially it's almost like cement coming down here. One of the things that stands out to me that I think we have to watch out for is how this event